Hola, buenas tardes, good afternoon. Tercer grado, cuarto grado, quinto grado. Good afternoon, third, fourth, and fifth grade. En esta lección, in this lesson, vamos a repasar, we're going to review all of the things that we've learned about, specifically just focusing on numbers, colors, classroom objects, shapes, possessive adjectives, positional phrase, Spanish phrases, and some verbs that we've been using: es, son, está, están. So I'm going to share my screen. We're going to go through all of these things. And at the end of this lesson, you're going to take a practice test to kind of see what your strengths are, what you remember, and then things that you still need to work on. And in the next lesson, that will be just not a lesson, it will be a test. You'll see a test attached to your Google Classroom for you to take. Now, we're going to review everything on these Google Slides so that we can go through everything, and then get you ready for the test that will come up. And I'll have instructions for the test attached to the Google Classroom so you'll know what to do and how to take it. So I'm going to share my screen. And we are going to review. We're going to start with números, numbers. Every grade goes up to a certain number. Tercer grado, third grade, you go up to 200. Cuarto grado, fourth grade, you go up to 500. Quinto grado, fifth grade, you go up to 1,000. So you're going to be stopping at the numbers that you go up to. If you'd like to try the higher numbers, third and fourth grade, you can of course do that. But your test is going to focus on the numbers that are for your grade. So let's look. For 24, repite, 24. Muy bien. Remember, 24 is connected with an I. Numbers 16 to 29 are connected with the letter I in between the number, and it's one word, 24. 32. Numbers from 31 to 99 are connected with the Y. Two numbers, 32. 37. 48. And then we have 50, 50. 65, 65. So what you really need to focus your attention is the tens place, because if you know numbers 1 hasta 9, numbers from 1 to 9, those numbers get repeated in the ones place. It's the tens place that changes. So for 65, 65. 65. 153. To say just the number 100, 100. But when we count past 100, we don't say 100 anymore. We say ciento. 153, 153. If you notice, the Y is after the 50. We never put the Y between the 100. We don't say 150 and 3. 153. 153. 204. 204. We never say 204. 204. 204. 215. 215. 289. 289. 320. 320. 374. 374. Notice when we get to 200, 300, we see the word ciento at the end of the word 300. We see ciento and then we added an S. 300. 402, 402. 419, 419. 501, 501. There's no and there. It's just 501, 501. And if you notice, that's the pattern. We only put the Y, if you look at 756, 756. So the Y is between 50 and 6, but then it's just 756, 756. To say 804, we say 804. 966, 966. For the thousands, we are going to go past 1,000, but you should already know how to, fifth grade, this is really just for you, fifth grade, you know 1,000 is just 1000, and then 971. So it's 1961. 1776, 1776. 1984, 1984. So for a numbers part, the takeaway is numbers 16 to 29 are connected with one word with an I in between the two numbers in the one word. Numbers 31 to 99 have a Y connecting. So 31, 45. And then, of course, when you get to past 100, it's 100, 200, 200, 300, 300, 400, 400. Now, you have from the last lesson a Google slide that you can also review that has your numbers on it. That is something that is good to review. And then this slide just has examples of those numbers. So if you want a list of those numbers, you can go back to the previous lesson on numbers. Look at the Google slide that has the numbers. Let's move on to colores y objetos del salón. We're going to look at colors and classroom objects. To say the phrase, the pink eraser, repite, la goma rosada. Remember, rosada ends in an A because goma ends in an A. The yellow table. Can you say it? Repite, la mesa amarilla. A blue map, un mapa azul. Remember, it's un because mapa is masculine. It's one of those trick ones. A red marker, un marcador rojo. Some blue pens. Remember now, these are all plural. Pens is plural. The noun pens is plural. That means the indefinite article is going to be plural and the color. Unas plumas azules. Some brown rulers. Unas reglas marrones. The takeaway there with the plural is if your noun is plural, the color is going to be plural, and the article is going to be plural. Possessive adjectives. Some of you had some difficulty with this. It's pretty simple. To say, para decir, to say my, we say mi. If we're talking about what we own, is one thing. For example, my marker, mi marcador. But if I have more than one marker, then it's markers. So I don't say me, I say mis marcadores. If I say your marker, tu marcador, and this yours informal. If I say your markers, tus marcadores. So we make the possessive adjective plural if what we own is plural, more than one. The next one, if I want to say his marker or her marker or their marker or your formal, if I'm speaking to an adult and I want to say your marker, I'm going to say su. Su means all of those things. How do we know which one that we mean? It's the context of who you're talking to. So if you're talking to an adult and you want to say your, you would say su. If you're talking about a female and I want to say her marker, su marcador. And you will know it in the context of your conversation, what that su means. To say our, and it's singular, our marker, nuestro marcador. Marcador is masculine, so I say nuestro. If I wanted to say something, an object that's feminine, like if I goma, an eraser, I would, and I want to say our eraser, nuestra goma. Okay. If I have more than one, I want to say our markers, nuestro, lo siento, sorry, nuestros marcadores, nuestros marcadores. If I want to say our erasers, nuestras gomas, nuestras gomas. Takeaway here, if it's plural, you have to say either mis, tus, sus, nuestros, nuestras. Singular, if you have just talking about just one thing, mi, tu, su, nuestro, nuestra. Examples, my white paper, mi papel blanco. Her pink crayon, su crayón rosado. His black chair, su silla negra. Your informal, I'm talking to someone my age or younger, your red scissors, tus tijeras rojas. Our blue windows, nuestras ventanas azules. Don't forget to make your color plural as well. Looking at shapes, formas, blue circle, círculo azul, red triangle, triángulo rojo, green square, cuadrado verde, some yellow stars, unas estrellas amarillas, some purple rectangles, unos rectángulos morados. Muy bien. Looking at the verbs es means is and son means are. We're going to be talking more about these verbs a little later on also, but to focus on when we want to talk about description of an object, whether the color or the size of the object, we're going to use either es, is, so, or son, are. The long ruler is yellow. La regla larga es amarilla. The notebook is a square. El cuaderno es un cuadrado. El cuaderno es un cuadrado. The table is big. La mesa es grande. The door is narrow. La puerta es estrecha. The green scissors are small. Las tijeras verdes son pequeñas. Notice we can use the other adjectives that we use for shapes also with our classroom objects. Positional phrases. When we talk about the location of something, where it is or where they are, we don't use es or son. We use another verb called estar. We either say está, which means is, or están, which means are. Remember, we have two ways to say is and are in Spanish. When we talk about description of color or size, we say es or son. When we talk about the location of an object, está or están, if it's more than one. Vamos a mirar, let's look at the sentences. The circle is near and the triangle is far. El triángulo está cerca y this is a typo. I should be, el círculo está cerca y el triángulo está lejos. El círculo está cerca y el triángulo está lejos. The pencil is next to the paper. El lápiz está al lado del papel. El lápiz está al lado del papel. Remember, del, D-E-L, is a combination of de and el. Instead of saying de el papel, we just say del papel. So it's kind of almost like a contraction in English. The de and the el become del. The marker is between the eraser and the pen. El marcador está entre la goma y la pluma. El cono está enfrente del corazón. El cono está enfrente del corazón. And that means the cone is in front of the heart. El octágono anaranjado está debajo del pentágono azul. El octágono anaranjado está debajo del pentágono azul. The orange octagon is under the blue pentagon. That was kind of tough to say. So if you notice, you'll have some sentences in Spanish that you have to translate to English, and some sentences in English that you have to translate to Spanish. On these slides, you're going to be reviewing, I'm going to just stop sharing for a moment. You're going to be reviewing all of these things on the slide, and then you take the practice test. So you can look over the slides again before you take your practice test and see where your strengths and weaknesses are. If you have any questions about what we've gone over, please feel free to message me on Google Classroom, and I'll be more than happy to help you with it. So if you feel pretty confident, you can take the practice test and see. Even if you don't feel so confident, that's okay too. Take the practice test. It's not the test. It won't be graded like a test. It's just for you to see where you need to study more. And when I review your practice test, I'm going to mark and see how things should be said so that you can review it, so it will help you on your test. If you have, again, any questions, feel free to message me. Hasta luego.